Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? This time we're going underwater.
Ooh, sounds interesting.
You know how much people love a good ocean mystery?
Oh, absolutely. Sunken treasures, strange creatures.
Right. Well, this one is about a mysterious discovery in the Baltic Sea.
The Baltic. Fascinating place, isn't it?
Cold, dark, tons of shipwrecks.
Like a giant underwater museum. Perfect for treasure hunters, you'd think.
Exactly. And in 2011, a Swedish team called Ocean X went out there.
Ocean X. I've heard of them. What were they looking for?
They were hoping to find some long-lost shipwrecked treasure using sonar to scan the seabed.
Did they strike gold?
Well, they found something, but it wasn't any pirate booty.
Oh, what was it then?
Imagine this. A massive circular object just sitting there on the seafloor.
A circular object. How big are we talking?
Huge. 61 meters in diameter.
Wow. That's like the size of a Boeing 747.
Right. Just picture a 747, but perfectly smooth and circular, like a giant metallic pancake.
I've seen some of those sonar images, and they are pretty mind-blowing.
Pretty crazy, right?
It really fired up people's imaginations. What could it be? A sunken UFO.
That's what everyone was saying.
A USO, unidentified submerged object. People were going wild with the speculation.
I bet. So what happened next? Did they investigate?
Of course. But it wasn't easy.
I can imagine.
First, the object is deep, 90 meters down.
Yeah.
And the Baltic. Not exactly calm seas.
Yeah, not the easiest diving conditions.
Exactly. But there was something else, something even weirder going on.
Okay, now you've got me hooked.
Every time Ocean X got near this thing, all their equipment started acting up.
Really? Like what?
Well, the sonar readings went haywire, satellite phones died, even their diving robot went crazy, all within a 200-meter radius of the object. It was as if some invisible force field was around it.
So like an electromagnetic field or something?
Some people thought that, yeah. It was pretty spooky.
I bet. But they had to get a closer look,
Yeah.
right? To see what they were really dealing with.
Exactly. But that was proving to be much more challenging than anyone expected.
So did anyone actually make it down there?
One of the Ocean X divers, he was pretty brave, decided to try. He said it was like descending into total darkness. And as he got closer to the object,
Yeah.
even his dive light started flickering and then just died.
Creepy.
And then his oxygen supply malfunctioned.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he had to make a quick escape back to the surface.
That's terrifying. It's like this thing doesn't want to be found, so he couldn't see much then.
Not with no light, no. But before he bolted, he managed to chip off a little piece of the object, a sample.
Ah, so they had something to analyze, at least.
Right. And this is where things took an unexpected turn. Remember how we were talking about the Baltic being like an underwater museum?
Yeah.
Well, at first glance, the geologists thought this sample was just a piece of ordinary volcanic rock.
Oh, so a normal rock. Mystery solved.
Not so fast.
Okay, there's got to be more to the story.
When they analyzed the sample in the lab, it showed really high levels of titanium, iron, and manganese.
Interesting. What does that mean?
Well, those aren't just random elements you find in any old rock. They're often found in metal alloys. You know, things we humans create using advanced metallurgy.
So you're saying this wasn't just some random rock, it was actually metallic.
That's what they were starting to think. But here's the real kicker.
Hit me with it.
They did some dating analysis on that sample,
Hmm.
and it came back as being around 140,000 years old.
140,000 years old. Wow.
Think about that. Neanderthals were still walking around Europe back then.
Yeah, that's way before we had any kind of advanced metalworking.
Exactly. That's what makes this discovery so perplexing. 140,000 years ago, and you've got this object made of materials we associate with sophisticated man-made technologies,
It makes you wonder what else is out there, just hidden beneath the waves, waiting to be discovered.
doesn't it?
Okay, so just to recap, we've got this huge metal thing, potentially 140,000 years old, causing all sorts of equipment problems down there in the Baltic. I mean, where do you even start to try to explain that?
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's no surprise, I guess, that people started coming up with all sorts of theories.
Of course. So what were some of the leading contenders?
Well, a lot of experts, particularly those with military backgrounds, thought it might be a leftover from the Cold War.
Ooh, Cold War intrigue. Makes sense the Baltic was a bit of a hotspot back then, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. A key strategic area. So their thinking was maybe it's some kind of device the Soviets put there.
Like to mess with enemy sonar or something.
Right. Imagine a device specifically designed to disrupt sonar, something the Soviets would have been very interested in during the Cold War.
Yeah, big time. Submarines relying on sonar. disrupt that, and you've got a huge advantage.
Exactly. And the way their equipment was going haywire near the object, it kind of fits, right?
Okay, yeah, I can see that. But hold on, if it was some top secret Soviet tech, wouldn't there be some record of it somewhere? You'd think they'd have tried to retrieve it by now, right?
Logically, yes. But it's possible, maybe, that during all the chaos at the end of the Cold War, some projects just slipped through the cracks. Records got lost. Or maybe they're buried in some archive somewhere.
Right, or maybe it was just so sensitive, so potentially dangerous that they were like, you know what, let's just leave it down there.
Let sleeping dogs lie. Yeah, could be. So that's one theory, Cold War tech. But there's another one that's even more, well, let's say, controversial.
Okay, lay it on me. What's the more out there explanation?
Some people believe the answer might actually lie further back in time with the Nazis.
Whoa, really? Like, we're talking those rumors of crazy Nazi super weapons.
It's definitely a fringe theory, but there are some things that when you think about them are quite intriguing.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So the Nazis, right, they were pushing the boundaries of technology in lots of areas, particularly aviation. We know they were experimenting with all sorts of advanced aircraft.
Jet engines, right. Weren't they ahead of the game on that?
Yeah. And there were even stories about them working on these, get this, flying disc prototypes.
Hold on, wait. Like actual UFO-shaped things?
That's what some people claim. Now imagine, what if one of these experimental craft crashed in the Baltic during the war?
Okay, I can see where you're going with this. The shape of the anomaly, the fact that it seems to be made of metal.
It all kind of lines up, right?
So we're talking a Nazi flying disc lost at the bottom of the Baltic for, like, what, 80 years? This is getting more and more like some kind of Indiana Jones movie, only underwater.
It is, isn't it? And there's something else that makes this theory even more interesting. The sonar imaging, remember. It also picked up another smaller disc-shaped object about 200 meters away from the main one.
2 discs? Are you serious? So, like, a mothership and a smaller craft or something. This is getting wild.
And get this, there's also this long 4-kilometer trail, almost like a trench, that seems to connect the two objects on the seabed. It's almost like they were traveling together and then boom, something happened.
Okay, my head is officially spinning. This is nuts. But are we just getting carried away here? I mean, apart from these sonar images and that weird metal sample, is there anything else that actually backs up this idea of advanced ancient tech? Whether it's Soviet, Nazi, or whatever.
It's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is there any other evidence? Well, there are a few eyewitness accounts that, well, they're pretty fascinating, to say the least.
Ooh, eyewitness accounts. Now we're talking. Tell me more about these.
Okay, so you might have heard about this Swedish pilot back in 1977.
I don't think so, no. What happened?
He was on a training flight over the Baltic when he gets this order to check out an unidentified aircraft that suddenly popped up on radar.
Okay, so not just some random blip on the screen. They were actually sent to investigate. I'm guessing this wasn't your average commercial airliner, was it? This pilot said he saw this strange object just hovering about a kilometer above the water. And get this, as he got closer, the thing just suddenly shot straight up.
Just like that.
Yeah, like incredible speed. Just vanished into the clouds.
Wow. Sounds like it came straight out of one of those UFO documentaries.
Right. And here's the thing. This sighting happened in the same general area as the anomaly we've been talking about.
That is a pretty big coincidence, isn't it?
You think so, right? So we've got one unexplained aerial encounter. Anything else?
Oh, there's more. This one's from 1982. So we've got a Polish fishing vessel, right, out on the Baltic.
Okay.
And the crew, they report seeing this huge disc-shaped object.
Another disc.
Yeah. But this time, it's hovering like 50 meters above their ship.
50 meters? That's like right over their heads.
Yeah, incredibly close.
I bet they were freaked out.
They said they were terrified. It was about the same size as their fishing boat, too, which was about 60 meters long.
So another large disc. And it just hung there.
Yeah, for a few minutes, they said. Then just like that, it shot up into the sky and was gone.
Okay, so 2 separate sightings of these large disc-shaped objects in the same area as this anomaly. I mean, come on, that can't just be a coincidence, can it?
It does make you wonder, doesn't it?
I mean, you can see why the UFO theory is so popular.
Oh, absolutely. When you put all this together, the shape of the anomaly, the strange metal sample, the way their equipment was going crazy, and then these sightings.
Yeah, it's hard not to think, what if?
Right. There's definitely something intriguing about this whole thing.
So where do things stand now? Has Ocean X managed to learn anything more about this thing? Any chance of getting it up to the surface for a closer look?
Well, that's where things get Well, they get a bit tricky. Oceanauts, they definitely want to raise it, study it properly.
I can imagine.
But getting the money and the resources to do something like that,
Mm.
it's a huge challenge. It's a big object, deep water, plus you've got those tough conditions in the Baltic.
Yeah, not an easy feat. But it sounds like there's more to it than just logistics, though, right?
You're picking up on something there, yeah. The Swedish military, they've taken a real interest in this site. There have been reports of them monitoring the area, even interfering with Ocean X's attempts to explore further.
Whoa, hold on. Seriously, why would the military be so concerned about what might just be an unusual rock formation? Unless, of course, they know something we don't.
It makes you think, doesn't it? What if
Okay.
they know? Their involvement definitely just adds another layer to this mystery.
It really does. Secret government cover-ups, unexplained phenomena, ancient mysteries. It's been over a decade since this thing was found, and we're no closer to a real answer.
It's one of those things, isn't it? Frustrating, but at the same time, totally captivating. The Baltic Sea anomaly is a pretty good reminder that there are still things out there we just can't explain. Things that challenge what we think we know about history, about technology, maybe even about reality itself.
It does make you wonder, what is this object? Why is it there? A strange natural formation, some piece of forgotten human history, or something even weirder.
Maybe we won't find the answer looking back at the past. Maybe it's out there in the future, waiting to be discovered. Who knows what we'll find as technology gets better, as we keep exploring the oceans.
It is exciting to think about, you know? All the mysteries that are still down there waiting to be uncovered. And hey, if this deep dive into the Baltic Sea anomaly has piqued your interest, there's a whole world of information out there. Sonar images, photos, interviews with Ocean X, all that.
A rabbit hole for sure,
Mm,
but one worth exploring. Who knows, maybe one of you listening will be the one to crack the code. Solve the mystery of the Baltic Sea anomaly.
Right.
Sometimes the most amazing discoveries are made by people who aren't afraid to ask questions, think outside the box.
It just goes to show the ocean is full of surprises. And maybe, just maybe, some of them are stranger than fiction.